tour.
Raymond, that's you.
No, this ain't Raymond.
Hey guys, you're watching RPadTV. I am Raymond, your host, and with me today is the excellent Mac Marshall. How are
How's
you?
it going? I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm happy to be here with you. Haven't had you in a few episodes, so
I wish we had a happier piece of content to talk about.
I think we'll have some fun with this one. We are talking about a movie called Prisoners of the Lost Universe. It's a bad movie, but there are some movies that are so bad that they can be unintentionally entertaining, and some movies that are just horribly bad.
This dances that line.
Yes. Like one of our favorite movies for us is Your Highness, which no one would call a good movie, but I find it tremendously entertaining.
Yeah.
So this is the mental exercise that I want to go through with you. But the reason I picked this movie is it was in heavy rotation when my parents first got cable. I was late to the party in cable.
Okay.
Because most of my friends are richer.
Right.
And
I've never seen this before. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, it was on heavy rotation.
That's surprising because I've seen like so much, especially in that era.
It's a 1983 movie. I also made Johan watch it. He wasted the time of my life watching this movie.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Nobody's happy with you.
But Johan was entertained by Love Hurts, so I will hold that against him. But yes, this was 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it had three notable actors who we'll get into later as we discuss the actors and their characters.
When I saw John Saxon at first, I 100% thought that was Sean Connery, like young Sean Connery. Which they commonly used to get confused. Back then, but like I was like, oh man. And then the funny part was like, oh, I wonder if it is Sean Connery. And then he kept slapping people around in the movie. I'm like, that's definitely Sean Connery. And then I looked it up and it was John Saxon.
So these three guys that are listed here, they were pretty big deals in the 70s. Maybe not so much in 1983. Perhaps their careers have cooled off by then.
Yeah, I don't remember when Battlestar. That's the first thing I said to you. I was like, "Is that the guy from Battlestar?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then a couple other people as well. But like that was the first thing that kind of just caught my eye.
Reminded Johan of Land of the Lost,
like old school Land of the Lost. Yeah,
you know, I was thinking that when those guys in the dirty cloaks, who we'll get into later, they did remind me of the Sleestack, who scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, I still like the new the Will remake of
Land with Danny McBride and Will Ferrell. I think that's hilarious, and I love the scene where they borrowed from a chorus line when when the eggs are hatching and they're like, I hope I get it. I hope I get it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Shaka just starts singing beautifully.
There's so many great things. We should do an episode dedicated to that movie in the future.
Oh, I'm totally down. Also, one of my friends that was a model in LA was in that movie as one of the chicks in Shaka's tribe. So,
okay.
Yeah. I think
that's a bad movie. That's a bad movie. That's hilarious.
But for this one, let's start things off with this. How would you describe Prisoners of the Lost Universe?
It bad. Like I said, I think the first thing, like I texted or emailed you today too after I finished the movie again. And I was just like, man, that is a really bad movie.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. There's things about it that are you can't even tell if they're intentionally bad or if it's just like they ran out of money or like the sound effects.
Sound design is horrible.
The sound effects are comically bad.
Yeah.
Like it's hilarious. Some of the direction, the scene jumping. I mean, there's so many different parts to complain about.
There were better sound effects in Hanna-Barbera cartoons from the 80s.
100%. Like it was laughably like, I'm like, really?
Yeah, like, so as I said before, this movie came out in 1983. So in my head, it's like some guy saw Conan the Barbarian in 1982.
Okay, that's so funny you bring that up, because in my head when I was watching it for the second time today, do my homework, Raymond. But like, so I was like, this feels like this movie is either inspired or inspired by, and all the movies around it, like it seemed like Kroll, like same year, it came out the same year, 1983. And then I started looking up the Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer movies, same time frame. It almost seems like the fight scene in the second Ace Ventura movie is based on the fight scene between the Battlestar Galactica dude and the giant tribal guy who like undefeatable, but said they swapped it out in Ace Ventura for Tommy Davidson.
Yeah, and oh man, some of those fight scenes were
so bad. I love the I love the preamble though. Like he like in the movie he crashes the truck and he's like, "Oh, I damaged my
kendo stick,
my training sword." And you're like, check box. He's gonna use a sword later in the movie. Yeah, right. Like, and then sure enough, it's all sword play.
Awfully convenient, but yeah, like this whole thing in those 80s movies, it's like let's make a ripoff of Conan the Barbarian, but with $12.
Yeah,
which I've calculated today,
and a pretty all Caucasian cast.
Yes, actually, I forgot to upload that screen, but I'm uploading it now. So, by my calculations, $12 in 1983 is the equivalent of $37.89. So, if you made a movie for $37.89, it would be pretty close to Prisoners of the Lost Universe. So.
Yeah, it was an experience. So I tried. So I say I watch it twice. I have like two different setups, like right here. So I kind of usually put something on the other one, like a movie or a TV show or whatever, and just run in the background while I'm working or doing whatever. And I usually am able to kind of multitask and like kind of check back and forth between the two. And at one point, I was so confused about what was happening in the Prisoners movie that like I kind of just gave up and like I gotta come back. And then I tried to like fast forward through it, like, and just like see like, hey, this scene, that scene, whatever, and see what I could pick up along the way. And then I rewatched all of it from top to bottom today because it was I couldn't remember what was happening.
So narratively, now that you had a refresher, what did you think of the movie's story? I mean, as bad as many aspects of the movie were, I don't think the plot was horrible. It's basic for sure, but I mean, there's no depth at all.
The story's like, I mean, I think the story is neat, and honestly, like if you had read that story and made a good movie, it probably would have been like this has potential as a narrative to be delivered on like a film format, right? Like it could have been much better.
Yeah. So basically, for people who are not familiar with the movie, it's set in 1983 Los Angeles. An electrician and a news reporter get into a car accident.
And that's how they meet. That's how they cross paths.
The news reporter was going to interview this crazy scientist who claims he can travel between dimensions. Said news reporter and electrician get sucked into Lost Universe.
Well, I love that they both randomly somehow end up at his house. Like, none of this is ever really kind of given any context, right? Like, she shows up at the mad scientist's house because she has like a story that she's chasing, which I only found out watching the second time.
Her show is called like The Weird and the Wacky.
Yeah, she's like the host of a weird sci-fi, almost like the Bill Murray's job in the original Ghostbusters, right?
Ghostbusters 2, he had the whatever something science, his show.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But then so she's there to interview the mad scientist who shows her the whole like the machine that gives the look into the alternate universe. And every time he turns it on, even to demonstrate it, like like what equates to what anybody here would perceive as like a 9.0 earthquake happens, and everybody just kind of casually is like, whoa! And then the scientist guy like falls into the machine as it's on, and he teleports himself into the other universe, right?
Yes.
And then she just panics around and like walks around the house going, "Oh no, what happened? I'm helpless." And then randomly, out of like no like left field, the same guy that she crashed into on the road over there just shows up at the house. like he didn't have a job there. He just like shows up and then lets himself in, and then they bump into each other. And then she's telling him what happened, turns on the machine, another 9.0 earthquake happens, and then they fall into the machine and get teleported to this new world. It was a lot.
So one of my favorite things when they get into the car accident shows how 80s it was when she's like, "Hey, stop calling me lady. You wouldn't treat me like this if you were a man."
And he was threatening to hit her.
Yeah, he's like, "If you were a man, I'd knock your head off. You want to
all sorts of like machismo, like no respect for women, like the whole. And by the way, like I know this is one of the other questions for later. She just plays that hateable like everything's like, oh, my foot hurts, or this is awful, or like I did something wrong. She plays that role too perfectly.
I will give the movie this. The title is very appropriate because each of them, both Richard Hatch's character and Kay Lenz's character, spend a lot of time being prisoners.
Yeah, they do.
People. So they literally are prisoners in a lost universe several times over. So at least
you know what I somehow missed is how do they get introduced to the Green Man?
So I
know she comes back, like she falls off a cliff and then she comes up and she just like unties him and he's like tied up to a thing. But like
those short people had him prisoner, the Green Man.
Okay, so the fake
piggies.
Jawas.
The
fake Jawas basically had him as a pig. Okay.
So if you see, and I'll show this in a screenshot. Let's move into that. Let's talk about the production. Let's like the costumes. These guys that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of blurry, but on the left there, that's the Green Man all tied up. So
I didn't even see him. He's like camouflaged.
Yeah, because he's green.
Yeah.
So he's their prisoner. And
this is all God, the kids. This is all the kids of everybody who worked on that movie.
This is borderline racist. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, they all look like Manta.
They kind of do, yeah.
It's creepy.
And then these guys, I think this is what Johan was talking about for the Land of the Lost vibe. But these guys were. Oh, now that I'm looking at it in a still frame, they kind of look like those goats.
They look like the ghosts from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, the fight scenes and pretty much all the action sequences, they're all really quick cuts to cover up that only Richard Hatch can really do action, and a lot of close-ups, so you can't tell when it's the stuntman.
Mm-hmm.
The scientist guy. You know he's a scientist because he has all these LED lights in the background because and
a lab coat
and books. So, and these special effects of his teleportation machine.
Yeah,
look at this. Look at this. This looks.
That's what they fell into to transport themselves to the alternate universe. By the way,
it looks like, I don't know. It kind of looks like one of the rooms that they used in the Monkeys from that TV show.
And the Commodore 64, heavily masked as a
as a teleportation terminal of sorts. I guess if you want to call it that, sure.
And some audio tapes to some sort of recording tape mechanism behind it on the wall.
Yes, reel to reel. That's how data was. I don't know if kids knew that, but computer data, even music. My uncle, when I was a kid, he had a large collection of reel-to-reel albums, and the sound quality was tremendous, but he also had these giant reels of music, which were not practical at all.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but my dad worked at Philips Magnavox.
Oh, wow.
For like years and years and years. And he actually brought home one day one of the first CD players ever, like consumer CD players. And I remember he like had me come help him get it out of the car because like it was a component piece at that point, and it weighed a metric ton. And he's like, I'm like, what is this? And he pulled out like a shiny disc, and he's like, I'm like, what is that? And he's like, this is the future. And I was like, oh, all right. And then like he played I forget what song, like what band it was, but like he played a CD for the first time. He's like, look, and all we had was record players before that, right? So like hearing the jump from record to CD quality was like, oh my gosh, very cool.
Yeah. That also reminds me, 3 years ago, I had a a young lady over, and she saw a music CD that I had. She's like, "What is this?
What is that?
Is this like a video game?"
Like, it's the past.
It's like, no, this is what music used to come on. She's like, what?
Uh-huh.
She's like, it doesn't come on your phone. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's like watching a teenager right now with like a rotary phone.
Yeah. Let's talk about the leads of the
Okay.
movie. We have Dan, played by Richard Hatch, of Battlestar Galactica fame. I mean,
yeah, playing a tough guy, handyman / wife beater type
yes.
guy.
But I mean, there was a time where Richard Hatch and Dirk Benedict were like the coolest guys out there from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah.
Dirk Benedict also continued his fame with the A-Team. Richard Hatch, not so much, but
no,
here's the scene you're talking about where they first meet, and he's like,
I broke my training sword.
Yeah, it's like, I had this kendo stick, and he mentions like, this thing took me to like 3 championships. I'm like, because you need an electrician, believable.
Yeah. By the way, like, what electrician cruises around 24/7 with all of their tools on their tool belt on them, like on their
while he's driving?
Yeah, like while he's in the car, like everywhere, like he never takes them off.
Yeah, that is a good point. But what did you think of his performance as Dan? Was he believable as an electrician / kendo championship swordsman?
I think he did okay with the sword play. Like, I wasn't expecting it, more so than I like knew it was, like, it's gonna come, but like I wasn't expecting it to be as like heavy sword play like as it was in the movie.
Right.
I think he did a good job at that. He seems to get beat up a lot in this movie. Like, he gets his ass kicked quite a bit. Also, one of the things, that like broke me earlier was in the first like confrontation he has, he gets shot. Like, the dude just shoots him.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, you shot him." And then they take her away, and it just cuts back to him, and he sits up in the bushes. He's got like a tiny little blood mark on his head. It's like, did he get shot in the head and not die? like it just, it's never explained. It's just like, yeah, they shot him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was good in kind of like Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China, but like the Timu version of Jack Burton. So
yeah, like
he is a dumb hero. He does get his ass kicked a lot.
Yeah,
he does need a lot.
That's a good analogy to the Jack Burton kind of.
So he's budget Jack Burton.
Budget Jack Burton. That should be its own movie, by the way.
Yes. This is one of the big fight scenes you were talking about.
The scene I was talking about. He starts slugging this dude everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and there's like no effect. Like, the guy's just sitting there laughing, like every punch, every kick.
Yeah.
And at some point, I forget what it was. He kicks him in the junk, and that's like, okay, so finally he's got a weakness. And then at one point he falls down and he steps up and he smashes his toes with like the heel of his boot, and that was the big damage. And then he pushed him and he fell into a rock that exploded him into dust.
Yes, because this tribe worships the fire rock for reasons.
But this scene 100% reminds me of that scene in Ace Ventura 2 when he has to fight. I'm telling you, like, whoever saw that, like whoever made that scene in Ace Ventura 2 saw this movie.
Probably. Yes, Johan agrees that it had some similarities
with Little China vibes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it has elements of a lot of our favorite movies from the 80s, but doesn't do any of them.
Big Trouble Little China was mid-later 80s, right?
I think it was 80.
I want to say 87, but I could be wrong.
86, yes. Okay. That's like one of my all-time favorite kitschy movies.
Yeah, we can do an episode on that whenever you want.
Yeah, I've done one with Jose Fubar.
Oh, really?
Again, yes. Let's take a look at more of these Richard. Here's his sword when he gets a real sword in the Lost Universe.
Yeah, he's got the exact same hair though from Battlestar.
He does.
Like, it's like he never left the set, and then they just put like a plaid shirt on.
Yeah, he's like, here's a flannel. Here's some really tight jeans. I wonder if he could be like, they should have used him in the Highlander movie, with his sword play. But yeah, he's budget Jack Burton. The female lead, Kay Lenz.
I never even seen or heard of her before this.
So she was a pretty big deal in the 70s. She's won Emmys. She was nominated for a Golden Globe, and she was briefly married to David Cassidy, who was Keith Partridge. So, and in 1983, she was doing this.
Yeah, I think I said earlier, she played the lost, distressed female pretty well.
Yes.
The damsel in distress kind of role.
But I can totally believe her as
of the time.
Host, of a host of a crappy 80s TV show, like
that part of her, like that was the most believable of everything.
Yeah, for sure. Richard Hatch did wear the same outfit the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kay Lenz wore this outfit for most of the movie, but she did get a costume change after she was
sexually assaulted by the river monster.
No, she still wore that, but it was ripped when John Saxon kept her prisoner.
Oh yeah.
Gave her nice clothes. Yes, we did get this nice bathing scene with her. I was disappointed it didn't go a little further because she is a pretty lady.
Yeah, and then the low rent river monster costume. Yes. You can see like the actor's eyes behind the mask.
Yeah, that was was really bad. But see, after that fight, she lost the sleeve and part of it. But yeah, she was also a prisoner in the Lost Universe. She was separated from Richard Hatch for a while after he was presumed dead.
After one of the funniest things in this movie is, so they get teleported over to this alternate universe, and then they kind of are friends at this point at the very beginning. Like after they make their way up, like they fall off the cliff and they save themselves and they start walking around. There's a scene where like they're gonna they're leaving like the area after they just saved themselves, and I don't know why. But like he's totally strong arm, like got her arm in his hand and is like forcing her to walk with him across like the hill, and it like doesn't fit the movie at all. It's like, did he take her hostage all of a sudden? Like what's happening? And then it's something like immediately after that, that's when they end up like just hooking up in broad daylight and like in the field.
It's so out of nowhere, but
yeah,
I mean it makes sense for that time, I guess. I don't know.
It was very like okay, so we need to have maybe just put the sex scene there. That happened, and then that's when we meet John Saxon, and he takes her off.
And the setup was weird. Like he was like helping her up, and she accidentally touches his face and said like, you could use a shave.
Yeah,
starts stroking his face. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and then so the next spot, if you didn't remember, the next scene after that is him. He just gets up and starts walking away, and he goes and finds like a pond, and he's just shaving with his pocket knife after that, right? Like,
which they probably stole from Crocodile Dundee. I don't know when that movie came out. Was that later?
I think it was. But maybe that's what inspired Crocodile Dundee.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, she was an interesting character as well, and just the way like her scenes are written in.
Yeah, and you can tell that she was probably the most talented person in the production, but she was just working with garbage.
Yep.
If you look at the guy who directed and co-wrote the movie, he is responsible for a lot. Terry Marcel, he is responsible for a lot of low production garbage, of which this movie falls into that category.
Okay, I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah,
I didn't remember this until I was like kind of browsing around earlier, but John Saxon was also like the dad / detective in the original Nightmare on Elm
Street. Yes.
And they show one of my favorite scenes in cinema of all time. It's just the clip for that movie when I was on IMDb earlier, but it's the clip of Johnny Depp getting like the upside down blood water fountain in the bed. Like that is the best death scene of all time. Like it's fantastic.
So I do want to talk about John Saxon soon.
Okay.
But let us do a quick promo break, guys. As you know, if you watched the last episode, or you might not, I am giving away this very special RPadTV water bottle. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/RPadTV, sign up. There is a free membership level available, and leave a comment on the April water bottle giveaway post, and you get a chance to win.
My brain automatically interpreted that as an exhaust for a car.
I guess it, yeah.
Or like a cool jetpack.
Sadly, it is not either of those. It is just a water bottle.
It's whatever your imagination says it is.
And if you're looking for a way to help out the site and you happen to need a VPN service or a secure email, consider using Proton. You can get a discount of up to 64% off a Proton VPN subscription by using the link go.getproton.me/sh10j. There's a direct link in the Facebook and YouTube descriptions. But guys, Proton makes some seriously great stuff if you're looking to protect your information, protect your identity, or you want to use streaming services and access different content by spoofing your location. Proton VPN is a great way to do it. Proton Mail is also fantastic. There's a reason why so many adult actresses and escorts use it to secure their appointments, if you know what I mean. Proton offers hyper-secure email. It is backed by Swiss privacy laws. And as you know, the Swiss make awesome things like cheese with whole
privacy cheese and privacy chocolate.
Yes, privacy Alps. All these wonderful things. But yeah, if you would like to help out the site, please consider getting a Proton subscription. I use these products way before I partnered with Proton. I've been a paid member of both their VPN and their email services, and I believe in these products, and so should you. And you should believe in yourself too.
And a consumer of fine cheeses and chocolates.
Yes, I've consumed a lot of. Actually, I will consume pretty much any cheese and chocolate. It doesn't have to be good. Cheese and chocolate are awesome. So John Saxon, he is the big bad in this movie, playing Cleel, the warlord of this world. Some of you know John Saxon from Enter the Dragon, where he was the protagonist, because they didn't believe in Bruce Lee's English, even though he was the one that could actually fight. And as Mac mentioned, he was the dad/cop in A Nightmare on Elm Street, where it isn't the line when Freddy impersonates him like, Elaine, get the fucking bourbon or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Such a good line. But he was also like a man's man in the 70s, maybe kind of fizzling out in 1983.
Probably around the time where it was like the door was closing for movies for him.
But as Max said, he does kind of look like Sean Connery.
Young Sean Connery at a glance, and that's what I thought. And then in my head, I'm like, Sean Connery's a fucking woman beater, and so in my head I was like, is that Sean Connery? And like the next scene is like he's just slapping people around. I'm like, that is Sean Connery.
See, this is a very Sean Connery thing to be doing.
It is, and it's not him, so I feel bad, but I also don't. So.
Let's get another one.
There's a lot of like just like kind of violence against females in this.
And he is quite the womanizer. He has like a whole harem, including one he doesn't treat very well and has tortured. And eventually turns on him. But what did you think of John Saxon as Cleel, the bad in this movie? I didn't
get a good sense of him being like a true evil bad guy. You could tell he was like, he almost came off as like the bit player bad guy that they let stay on stage for the whole scene, right? Like
he's almost more like a mid boss than like the final boss.
Yeah, he's that's a great example, right? Like he's just not quite as evil as like the whole thing is setting him up to be.
Yeah. I think he was just taking advantage of a troubled land and a troubled time, and he liked women
and a troubled blonde.
Yeah. Johan says he also looks like the actor who played Zod in Superman. That would be Terrence Stamp, who is fantastic. But he's British and Connery's Scottish.
Yeah.
Saxon is all American. So he has that going for him, I guess. But I I don't know, for this level of movie, you can't have a bad guy like, James Earl Jones and Conan the Barbarian. That guy was evil.
Yeah.
So
no, this was like, it's like Paul Rubens could have been the bad guy, right? Like, you would have been like, it would have been like just as good or bad.
Okay, tangent. Oh man. So the scientist, Dr. Hartman.
Yeah, Dr. Hartman's a fucking shit doctor, by the way.
Yes. But in my head, I'm like, how much if they remade this movie in like the aughts, how awesome would Alan Rickman have been as this character? How thousand times better than this.
Yeah. Okay, so now you brought like a cool tangent. I would love to see a remake of this movie with contemporary actors and better storytelling.
Ooh, let's cast it. Who would? Okay, let's start with Dan. Who do you cast as Dan?
I'm gonna go with Danny McBride.
Ooh, love it. That's awesome. Yeah. And now we have to have a disproportionately beautiful woman playing opposite
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue. I don't know. I think you go younger. I almost think like Danny McBride opposite Sydney Sweeney would be hilarious.
Oh,
okay. Like somebody like way out of his league, just physically.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's how I see it. But Elizabeth Shue is
the whole, like Natalie Portman.
Yes, exactly. And Your Highness, which you should watch the episode Mac and I did on Your Highness.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay,
so bad guy. So we want. Well, we can't get
Alan Rickman.
Ooh, let's see. Gwyneth Paltrow is. See, I think she, and I don't mean this in an ageist way. It sounds horrible, but I think she at this time she is too old. Yeah, she has aged out of this role. Like, who would play like a young entertainment news reporter? So it'd have to be that level. Like who's like a crappy actor / TV host? Olivia Munn. She can do it.
Okay.
Nah, I don't want to see her in anything ever again.
And then who would be the John Saxon's character?
Ooh.
Almost like Will Ferrell.
I think you get a serious badass for this.
Like I'm sorry, not Will Ferrell. What's John C. Reilly?
I don't think they're talking. They got into a fight over that Showtime
series. They don't have to both be, but I'm saying John C. Reilly can do this role perfectly. Actually, John C. Reilly could do the other role too for Richard Hatch. Like either way.
Yes, they are.
I feel like he needs to be in this movie.
That is
and
the
Danny
crux,
McBride.
That is the crux of their argument.
Yeah,
because John C. Reilly got the lead in Showtime, and Will Ferrell was originally interested in it, but then kind of was non-committal about it.
That's why.
Yes,
that not because he played his drum set.
Yes, put his balls in his drum set after. Now, I want to talk about the character that I think this is the guy that drew me into the movie as a kid. I thought the Green Man was the coolest.
He's the Legolas of the movie.
Very Legolas. I mean, he's good with nature weapons, and he can summon horses by whistling.
By the way, he's like a legitimate badass combatant too. Like the first time he shoots that gun, he spears that fucking river monster like through the face.
Yes. He does not. Green Man does not mess around. But
yeah.
Here he is summoning horses with his.
Ewan McGregor for Green Man.
Oh, love it. That's a good one. And then he can. One of the horses said that he was thirsty, so the Green Man found some groundwater for him. There's only
he's like the resident elven wise elf, fighter.
As long as he's not, the CO2 gas pods. So he had an air rifle.
Those were from the plant that he just found.
Yes, and I just thought this guy was the coolest. He spoke in a weird, almost stoic way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's
he's the cyborg. He's essentially not like I was gonna say. He's almost like the cyborg Cyclops character from God, what's the movie I said earlier? the Krull, right?
Yeah.
He's like the cool. He's like the cool fighter character that you want to see what happens along the way. And unfortunately, the Cyclops dies in Krull. FYI, spoiler alert.
I think he carried them in all the fight scenes. They would have been screwed without the Green Man. And that leaves
and the giant like caveman dude.
Oh yeah, he's in the background.
She rescued while he was creeping on her.
Well, he was like drowning in quicksand.
But like it was just like it looked like he was spying on her from behind, like cleverly.
And he speaks in some weird barbarian language
that the Green Man can speak.
Yes, I think his name. His name is Kahar, but he's not listed like that in the credits. He's listed as the Man Beast, which I think is I don't know. That's kind of wrong. He's a person, damn it.
Yeah.
And he bailed them out a few times too. That's true. When they're
I didn't expect him to be as an important of a character as he was. Like the first time you come across the Green Man, you're like, all right.
Yeah. That guy
he becomes a cool character you want to kind of follow along
with horse talking +5.
Yeah.
That leaves us with the last member of the gang, Malachi, who is their thief / comic relief.
Yeah. And it's like, is that Peter Dinklage? Is it like to place him? Is it David Faustino who played Bud Bundy? Like that's what he reminded me of.
So I want to go high art with this casting because so this actor, he in real life he's 5'2", so he's short, but he doesn't quite count as a little person.
Yeah, you gotta be under 5.
I want a short actor I want Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter.
Kevin Hart.
I don't know. That one's too. The movie would be too loud. I don't want him to be annoying. I want him to be like clever in a dopey way, like kind of like how Malachi is. He does like Uriah's stuck in a barrel.
But he's like hyper violent too. When he pulls out his daggers at the end fights, he's like stabbing.
Yeah, he kicks ass.
He can't stop stabbing people.
So in that respect, also being the thief and comic relief, he reminded me of Malik from Conan the Destroyer.
100%. I was gonna say the same thing. Like that's the same character. That's why I was like, I think is this Destroyer?
Yeah, that's Destroyer.
This came out a year later.
It did. Yeah.
And so I wonder if that's like if it inspired that character for some reason,
or maybe that was the intention all along, but they did it correctly. Although Malachi was,
see what you guys were doing. You fucked it up, but let us take a stab at it.
He was fine with the non-verbal acting. He'd make funny faces and shrugs.
And he had a memorable face.
And I think this is the scene where the Green Man is tapping for groundwater, and Malachi's like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?"
Yeah.
So he was. He also didn't believe that he can summon horses by whistling, but so he was amazed when that actually happened.
Yeah, Malachi's a doubter.
Yeah, so he played an interesting role. He just makes funny gestures and funny faces. I think that's.
And he's dressed as flamboyantly as you can at the time.
Yeah,
make him stand out.
Yeah, he had those pointy iron chic shoes.
Yeah,
that. Forgot to use the tickers. My bad. So let us cap off the discussion on this before we go into some other tangents. But for you, was Prisoners of the Lost Universe so bad that it's unintentionally entertaining, or was it just bad?
Well, so the way I address and answer this question is after seeing it in its full form today and knowing, because again, I was absolutely blind, not ever even hearing about this movie, but would I watch it again? Right. And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There's no logical, rational, neural pathway to answer or address why I would. But if I was flipping, back in the old days, you were flipping through channels on the TV,
right?
And this was on, I'd stop and I'd probably watch it again. So, but it's still it's so bad that it's good. It's so bad, but
yeah,
it's unintentionally entertaining for sure.
Yeah, that's very similar to how I feel about it. I mean,
That's always my litmus test of like, is it like, how bad is it? Was it bad that like, if in my teen years, it was flipping through like cable channels and just looking for anything to watch, right?
Would I stop?
Where do I stop?
Yeah.
Right? And like, there's certain movies that you can't pass, right? Like the Mighty Ducks is a good one, right? Like if you're watching TV and Mighty Ducks is on, you're gonna stop and watch Mighty Ducks, right? Like it's just one of those really bad 80s movies that you're gonna get hung up on.
So this is kind of why I was having a discussion on text with Johan. If I'm comparing this to Love Hurts, I am totally fine never seeing that movie again.
I gotta go look up Love Hurts real quick.
That's the Ke Huy Quan movie with Marshawn Lynch, which they've borrowed.
Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I know what you're talking about.
They've done this movie so many other times where he was like, like a big bad criminal. And then he starts a new life that, is hidden from, but then his old life catches up with him and he has to kick ass again. Marshawn Lynch is actually funny in it though. I think he should do more comedy. Yes. But yeah, I mean, there are moments in this movie, they're not great, but you could kind of see where they're going and they had potential, and
you can almost imagine what was happening on set, but out of camera, right? Like out of frame, like what people were laughing at.
But you can see what they were influenced by, and maybe they influenced things like Jim Carrey. And
I'm telling you, that scene is inspired by this movie.
So
I encourage you, after we're done today, watch that scene from Ace Ventura 2 and then tell me I'm not wrong.
And compare it with Prisoners. Right. Yes. Let's get that guy back up again. I mean, they're not even trying with let's just paint him green and put him in a loincloth.
No, he's like kind of silvery, or like it's
yeah.
I don't know, I'm colorblind, but it doesn't look green to me.
Well, he's not as green as Green Man.
No.
Because that guy, as you mentioned, he can camouflage with the foliage. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think you should give Prisoners of the Lost Universe a try, but don't expect anything good. It's one of those.
Get real fucked up and then watch it.
Ooh, I would like to watch this high. I don't think I've ever done that.
It's a totally different movie, but
that's an interesting idea.
Yeah,
maybe I'll do that tonight. We have more stuff coming up for you in April. Kind of got out of order. We are doing well, next week we're doing Daredevil, because I made a mistake. For some reason I thought there were 10 episodes, but there are actually 9. So it's gonna be the green guy kind of looked like Mikey Day. He kind of does. A little bit. He kind of does. If you turn Mikey Day green, I don't know if I could tell the difference. That's great. I love that.
I'm Googling Mikey Day right now.
He is a great cast member on SNL.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. That's him.
He did a sketch where
he was the butthead and Beavis and Butthead or whatever.
Yes. He also played, I think he was Don Jr. and the other guy was Eric. That was a good recurring characters that he had. And then he did this other sketch where he kept getting patted in the balls. But yes, Mikey Day could totally be the green man that we need now. The casting solved. There we go.
I feel like we just need to get a budget and
yes,
be off and running.
Great suggestion.
But like, you know what's crazy though? Like, of all the movies that are getting remade right now, why isn't this movie getting remade? Like, why? All the trash that's coming out, this is garbage. Like, why doesn't somebody look at this as the gem that it is and go, you know what? Like, there's money to be made here.
I don't know who makes these decisions. I don't understand like studio execs. They make some very strange decisions based on certainly not the public. Like, at the time when Starsky and Hutch, that movie came out, I'm like, did anyone give a shit about Starsky and Hutch? I like that movie.
I watched that when it came out. I went and saw it.
Like, but I mean, I don't know how it did box office wise. Like,
no,
like I do like that movie. I think it's funny.
That was like Ben Stiller in his prime.
Yeah, Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, the chick who gets naked in Road Trip, Amy Smart.
And then Vince Vaughn.
Yes, Vince Vaughn's the baddie. And the other girl, was that Carmen Electra? Was she the other girl in it?
I don't know.
Or no, it was someone from Baywatch.
David Hasselhoff.
No. The other girl that was a cheerleader with Amy Smart. It was Carmen Electra. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I thought Snoop Dogg was really funny. I wish he would do more acting. I think he's
a comedic personality, to be honest.
Zach Moore, do it. My brother and I say that to each other a lot. Do it.
When he was character.
Yeah, when he was in the Maury Finkelstein.
Do it.
Jessica Simpson in Dukes of Hazzard. There is a.
Oh, she could play
the girl opposite Danny McBride in our Dreamcasting. The one possible remake that scares the bejesus out of me is Big Trouble in Little China.
They can't. They shouldn't. They can't. I mean, it's like I'd rather see somebody do a remake of Beastmaster first, right? Like
they should do that. They should.
That's a different reboot.
Like speaking of how Richard Hatch was cool, Mark Singer between V and Beastmaster, that guy kicked ass. He was my
rarely clothed.
So the Big Trouble in Little China remake, The Rock was the one that was interested in pushing it, and he would play the Jack Burton character. But still,
I don't know. The Rock doesn't make a bad movie though.
Black Adam. I don't know.
He's still entertaining. He's like I still hold true to the Rock is one of those characters that every film he makes, at the very least, is entertaining enough to sit through.
Yeah, but he's
in the Ryan Reynolds category with me.
He's been making some flops though, so he's kind of cooled off in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But he's still The Rock.
I'm saying like any of those movies, even the really like the Tooth Fairy, any of the really bad ones.
Yeah,
that he's in. They're still.
I like was it The Game Plan where he finds out he has a daughter?
Yeah, with Sean William Scott.
Yeah. Oh no, that's The Rundown.
The Rundown. Yeah. Okay.
So Johan agrees that they need to leave that movie alone. I mean, that's one of those movies that I consider perfect. There's not a lot
to play Egg Shen, even, right? Who do you get to play David Lopan? Like,
well, aren't both those guys still alive? They could.
But you don't want them coming back to reprise their. I mean, like, if you're doing a true remake, you don't want them reprising their roles.
And I don't know if many people know this, but they actually did continue the story as it was intended to be continued in comic book form. So it's pretty niche, but I enjoyed the comics. But again, Big Trouble is one of my favorite.
Or a sequel, movies. Even. You don't have to remake the original. Give me that long-awaited sequel movie, because they have the monster riding the truck after Jack takes off.
So it actually continues. It continues right after that. And the way that species of monster works, like if you kill his master, he becomes bonded to you. So he becomes Jack's sidekick in the comic books. And he gives him like a goofy name.
Co-pilot of the Pork Chop Express.
Yes. Or maybe they can do a thing like how they're continuing the Naked Gun, where Liam Neeson is Frank Drebin's son.
Yeah.
Like maybe it can be Jack Burton's son. Although for me, I was always disappointed that Dennis Dunn did not become a bigger star, because at that time, 1986, not a lot of Asian Americans doing cool shit in pop culture. So when Dennis Dunn is Wang Chi, that guy was my hero. You know,
he did like 17 backflips in that scene. Like,
that's right. And Raiden was clearly inspired by Lightning of the Three Storms.
Yeah, for sure. I remember in my days working in Activision on the PR team, we would always quote, like, every time we would go to like a work party or any kind of drinking function, like you walk up to the group and it's like, feeling good. We used to do that like across like the room all the time.
Really? You feel like that's awesome. The one, and what I had this click at Ziff Davis when I was in the like this young executive track there. Don't ask. There's a bunch of us that were like super into working at Ziff Davis. Again, don't ask.
I remember those days though.
But one of the lines we would repeat just randomly, we'd be like, "You are nowhere." We just say that.
Just like passing somebody in the hallway.
And then the other one was randomly would be like, "Master, you are Flash.
You are Flash."
No reason. Yeah. It's just there's so many great lines in that movie. It's so many great.
So okay, so let's go casting then. Who would you cast as Jack Burton? Ooh. Like if you could pick a Jack Burton today, who's today's Jack Burton?
Cena, John Cena.
Oh shit, that'd be McConaughey also maybe.
Ooh, but Cena can do the action.
Cena has the action and the comedy,
and yeah. And he's not. We know he's not afraid to make fun of himself. So,
yeah.
Like, what was that movie he did with Amy Schumer where he had a bit role? But I thought he was hilarious in that.
I don't remember. All right, so
Wang, who is Ke Quan too old for that role?
Yeah, he's too old.
Too old. Damn. I don't know.
But, so if it's McConaughey or if it's
Cena,
Cena, who's age appropriate to be friends with John Cena?
I don't know. That age, Ke Quan is. I think
they're around the same. Like 5 years younger, you know.
Yeah. So Ke Quan is 53, so he's
I'm going to go a bit
older.
Okay, the dude who is the main antagonist in the Star Wars series that nobody liked at the end.
The Acolyte?
The Acolyte, thank you.
Oh, Manny Jacinto. Yeah.
Yeah, I put Manny Jacinto in there.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I have to support that as a Filipino.
So that'd be interesting just to see again because they both can deliver like humor.
Yeah.
Right. It'd be interesting to see them work off each other and be like enemies.
So Johan could be one of the bad guys in the.
Put me in the movie with my beard.
Yes, he is a very strapping Asian man with a bald head and large beard, so he can be one of the villains for sure. In these guys, what are they? The Singdings.
The Chang Sings and the Wing Kong.
Yeah, but the way Jack said it.
Yeah, no, he's
all. They have enemies. The Wing. Yeah, Johan could totally be in the Wing Kong. That would be awesome.
All right.
So maybe is Ke old enough to play Egg Shen?
Maybe Egg Shen. Like if they aged him up with like some makeup and whatever. David Lopan.
That's a tough one. Oof. I mean, he's so good. Just
James Hong is like too old now.
Yeah, absolute legend.
What's the God? I have to go look up his name. He's kind of short though, also, so it won't work. Man, I don't know. That's a tough one.
But yeah, that will be. Maybe we should do that. We should come up with some recasting ideas.
We should just spend it. We should spend our next like couple months actually just you and me writing the script for either the remake or the sequel to Big Trouble in Little China.
Or I think Prisoners would be cheaper to acquire the rights to.
And then get that over to Gary Whitta. And
oh shit, that's right. We actually know people. Like, hey, can you get this to your friend Will Smith?
Yeah, just I don't care who looks at this. Just anybody, look at this.
Who's a fallen actor? Like, if these guys in 1983, like Richard Hatch and John Saxon, if they were fading stars, who are some fading stars or damaged stars that we can get to star in our movie?
I don't know, but there's a star-studded actor that comes to mind for like the.
Could we get Kang?
I was gonna say,
who's been Me Too'd that we could hire for cheap?
Who?
No, who's been Me Too'd that we can hire for cheap?
I don't know. I feel like Keanu Reeves should be in the movie. He could be John Saxon's role.
I mean, he's awesome
with less violence,
and he's an awesome human being. That would be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Keanu Reeves would be an interesting role in that movie because he could play like a truly dark, really bad guy.
Do you remember
Peter Stormare? Also, now I'm thinking.
For the big silent guy, the man beast. Did you ever see the Great Khali in WWE? He's this large Indian guy.
No, but it reminds me, like I said before we started, you should watch. Is a terrible recommendation. Try watching the movie Atlas on Netflix, because the way they set up one of the AI character, like one of the AI controlled, like, humanoids, is that he's this huge fucking dude, like a linebacker level guy, and they're unstoppable because their androids are not human, but like they're all afraid. Like every human is afraid of this guy because of his size, and he just overtakes the room.
Oh man. Wow, so Sterling K. Brown is in this too?
Atlas?
Yeah. Wow.
It's not a good movie. It's just not a bad movie, and one that you should probably watch at some point.
Interesting. It's so weird for me to think of J-Lo in movies that are not rom-coms or have giant snakes in them.
Doesn't have Ben Affleck in it.
Yeah. I like that rom-com she did with Owen Wilson. I think it was like direct to Amazon or something, called Marry Me.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah, it's very by the numbers rom-com, but I even watched the bad ones. I actually went with a girl platonically, no interest at all, but she was the only one that would see Win a Date with Tad Hamilton with me in the theater. I was like, yeah, let's totally see this. I'm like, it's just, and it was pretty much me and her and these other two people in the movie theater. So
when I was dating my wife early on, we went to go see the first Lord of the Rings movie, and she was not plugged into sci-fi, fantasy, any of this, so she had no idea what the movie was. And all I remember was it was going to be a long movie, but like, that. And she's like, "Well, what is this movie about?" I was like, "It's like a love story. It's like there's the whole ring, and like, I just gave her just enough to get into the theater, and it was absolutely 3+ hours of not that."
So your marriage was founded on a lie.
Yes. So
I don't know. The ring was precious.
Yeah, she actually did say she liked it, and went with me to go see the other movies in their midnight showings.
Wow. See, that's how you know she's the one.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
but yeah, we have Daredevil coming up next week. That's going to be Marcus, Paul, and me. And I think hopefully if I can get, this company is supposed to send me digital copies of a movie that Mac and I were going to talk about. But if not, I will find it anyway. But we're doing a movie called The Comic Shop. It's a small independent film about a comic book store in Las Vegas.
Oh, I haven't seen this one yet.
I think it's out like this week or next week or something.
Okay.
But I will get you a copy, and then we will discuss it.
Does that fall into, like, is this supposed to be like another bad movie review, or
no? It's supposed to be I don't know if it's good. I don't have like tremendously high expectations, but it's a nerdy movie about a little comic book store, and I do like supporting my independent films, so we will give this a go. And it's about comics and nerds.
Have Jay and Silent Bob in it?
Sadly, no. But they are performing here, Jay and Silent Bob, on their speaking tour. I think they're here in October, so I will try to see them. But Mac, why don't you take us out and say bye to the people? And,
all right. Thank you for sticking with us while we review this stank-ass movie, Prisoners of the Other Universe, the Lost Universe. It is definitely bad. Do not watch it, but watch it and let us know.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.